Hello and welcome. It's finally Friday. Sort of feels good. It's been a week. Let me tell you, it's been a week. So hopefully everybody has fared well for this energy, this high energy week that we just had. And it's continuing, and it's going to continue for the entire month of August. But it sort of knocked me on my butt, to be honest. And normally that's not what happens for me during the Lionsgate portal. So I thought, I just got to do a little bit of grounding and meditation and really connecting down to my solar plexus to just clear out anything that might be there, creating some stress for me. So that is why I'm doing today's live. So welcome. If we haven't met, I'm Mary Madsen Heskin, and I'm Rivers Journey Wellness. I'm the soul practitioner here, and I provide holistic therapy, distance and in-person Reiki, and then coaching, although I'm still not crazy about the word coaching because I feel like what I'm able to provide is a little bit more than that, because I also incorporate intuitive guidance into the work that I do. So welcome. If you're hoping to get a little bit of information about what is our solar plexus, how do we know if it's balanced, out of whack, imbalanced. Sometimes it can be blocked, it can be overworked. Sometimes it can be completely depleted. Probably thinking mine was sort of on the depleted end, but this is going to be that live for learning more about the solar plexus, and we're going to do a little bit of healing and balancing. So I always forget to go back and put timestamps, but I'll try to put timestamps on today's so you know exactly where you want to go. If you already know what the solar plexus chakra is and you're like, I just want to skip that part, totally open to putting that timestamp up for you. So how I like to begin any time that is something sacred, something that is opening ourselves up to connecting to something bigger than ourselves, to bring in the energies that we're hoping for support, for guidance, for love, whatever it might be. I like to open sacred space with a little bit of sage. So if you're like, what is she doing down there? I am lighting just a little bit of sage with the giant flame. Giant flame. So I just need to take a big breath in. If you've had a challenging week, you're welcome to take a big, deep breath in and let it all out. Just helping us to get a little bit centered, grounded. Just releasing anything that we've picked up from the week, either struggles or pains. It's also a nice way to just send a message up to our guides that we're looking for support, that we're in need of guidance, that we're requesting their presence. They're always available to us. They're waiting. The guides are waiting for us to say, hey, can you help me? And they will jump at the chance that, given the opportunity to come and help and support you, they will. So this is just one way, and I'm just going to put it out so it doesn't keep burning. Sometimes I will let it burn during meditation, but today I'm not going to, because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking, and I just want it off to my side. Just take a couple breaths, just sort of allow yourself that time and space, that I call it like that presence, just being present for yourself. I'm going to move my screen and pull up. I wrote a little bit about what I wanted to talk about today. I tend to get a little bit of deer in the headlights, and sometimes I get a little distracted and off task. So having notes for myself is really helpful. if you listen to any of the live Q&As for the group that I'd been doing, I did have questions that people had written in or we talked about in session. And so this isn't going to be like that. I didn't have anybody write in any questions. I just know that I needed a little bit of balancing for the solar plexus. And again, I sometimes wonder if I'm feeling it. Well, is somebody else feeling it as well, right? Is somebody else needing that support? The answer usually is yes. The answer usually is yes to that one, because we are so interconnected. Even if we don't know each other, we're interconnected, and that's actually a pretty nice thing for community. So I'm going to light a candle also. Different flame, different purpose. But I'm going to light a candle for us just to start working with that energy of the solar plexus. And this is a candle that I've used so often. It's actually for grounding. I don't even know where I got this, to be honest. But it is at the bottom. It is at almost, the wick is almost out. But I just love this candle. I love its smell, and I love that energy of grounding. So I'm going to put that to the side just so we can have that while we're working with the energy. So balancing solar plexus for receiving abundance and manifestation. So I know a lot of times people that are not in this kind of woo world are like, what is this manifesting? Is that real? Is it magical thinking? And the answer is no. But it is something that when we want to create or receive something that we desire, manifesting, for me, it's a process, right? It's a state, something that we want to receive, or a change, an experience we want to have, a thing we want to bring into our lives, whatever you want to think about, the stuff that you want to bring into your life, that is what you are trying to manifest into your life. And so we want to make sure that our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs are matching that desired state. We are going to have a little bit of focus. We're going to have clear vision and intention surrounding whatever that thing is. So we can use meditation, visualization. We can do mental rehearsal. We can use images. Like if you're doing like a vision board, you can use images, or even affirmations. And I think what happens for a lot of people is they get stuck because they don't really know, like, what do I do with this manifestation? I just think of it, and magically it's going to come to me. Magically, this thing I'm going to receive. And there's other steps to it too. Sometimes there's a little bit of behind the scene work that actually has to be done before we are able to manifest. So we might have to heal. We might have to replace or reframe some limiting beliefs and mindset. We might have to heal some of our self-esteem or worthiness issues. We need to be able to trust ourselves that we're able to bring positive things into our life. Sometimes we have this, wonky mindset that, like, we're not able to do that. It's not something I can do. I'm different from other people. And the reality is, no, we just have to be able to trust that in ourselves, and trust our abilities, and really recognize that we are powerful co-creators. I personally struggle with the co-creation all the time, because I come from a family where it's like, you get it done yourself and you don't have to rely on other people. And the reality is, we're built for community, we're built for connection. And we really do need others to support us in that co-creation process, whether it's a friend, a family member, a colleague, or whether it's a guide, whether it's the universe, creator, source, anything, goddess energy, animal allies. We're actually co-creating that with them. And so opening up to that, sometimes, like I said, if you came from a family like me where you had to get it done by yourself, it's a little bit of it's a shifting of gears to be able to say, okay, I'm going to trust not only in myself, but that others will come and support. Really not, because once we've done some of the behind the scenes work, once we have that clear vision or intention of what we want, there's another step. So the next step is going to be getting very grounded, being very mindful, being grateful for what we've already received, There's lots of little pieces that kind of go in process to unfold. And one of the things that also I feel like gets forgotten so frequently is we still have to be active and take inspired steps where we can. So we have that clear vision, we have that intention, we've done some of the, work behind the scenes. We're in that place of being present, being mindful, being aware, seeing the signs and synchronicities that are coming to us to show us that alignment. But then we have to take action. We can't just sit and wait like, oh, that thing I want to manifest is just going to fall in my lap. It could, it might, it definitely could. But usually we have to take some action towards that. We need to have a plan, but we also need to have a little bit of flexibility. So when we see those signs, when we see those synchronicities, we know, oh, this is a message for me, or this is an opportunity that I need to take. It'll take me one step closer to whatever I'm hoping to manifest. So that is kind of manifestation in a nutshell. And sometimes I feel like things are flowing, things are good, the things that I want to receive are coming into my life, maybe not always in the way that I intend, maybe not all at the pace that I want, but they're there. And sometimes I feel like, what is happening? Like, why can't I do things? Why can't I put things into motion? Or why aren't I receiving in the way that I was expecting? Sometimes it can be like, patience, right? Sometimes we have to just wait. And sometimes it's something funky going on with our energy. And for me, I bring it back to the chakras. So there's 7 bodily chakras. One of them is the solar plexus chakra. And I know you can't see where I'm pointing, but it's just a little bit above your belly button. And the chakras are just energetic. They call them vortexes, just energetic centers within. To me, it's within the physical, but it's also within the energetic body. So I guess it depends on the way that you kind of conceptualize that. But the chakras themselves can be open, they can be closed, they can be kind of overworked, like I'm putting too much of me out there. They can be imbalanced, they can be blocked. If I didn't say that, they're not always clear, they're not always balanced. And so when that happens, we can hit a little bit of like roadblocks, we can get in our own way, we can have potential disaster. I feel so excited about my next steps, and I was not feeling that at all. In fact, I was like, what am I doing? Am I on the right path for myself? Is this what I want? I mean, it was just a wonky place. And so I knew, like, okay, I need to do a little bit of balancing. So a little bit more, if you're not familiar with solar plexus, I wrote a little bit of information down just so, again, I don't get deer in the headlights and forget what I'm saying. But it happens. So the solar plexus, so above the belly button again, if you can imagine, right? This is where we talk about like our core, right? Our physical core, our abs. But this is your center for your personal strength. It is the fire in your belly. It is the thing that supports your vibrancy, your enthusiasm, kind of, your zest for life type of thing. But then also being able to live your best life, being able to step into something that feels really authentic and genuine for you, and really feel like I'm living with meaning and purpose, but I'm doing it sort of in my own way, for myself in my own way. When we have a clear and balanced solar plexus chakra, we are able to return to kind of our natural state of balancing like self-awareness with self-confidence. We're able to like stand fully in our like clearest expression of personal power. And a little just asterisk there with personal power. So our personal power doesn't take away from anyone else's personal power. Our personal power is just what we're bringing from ourselves to the world. And it doesn't deplete other people's personal power. It doesn't challenge other people's personal powers unless they've got some issues around that. But that's not our intention, right? Our intention is just to be our best. So it can help us with creating and managing healthy boundaries, not only with ourselves, but with other people. It can help us to take inspired action. Remember, I was talking about that being kind of the last piece with the manifestation is like we want to be able to take those steps that feel really supportive of whatever our goal, dream, experience, desire, whatever it is, right? We want to be able to do that. So that is when we have a clear and open solar plexus chakra. So I forgot to mention, if you have any questions, if you want me to slow down, I know sometimes I go a little fast, but if you have any questions, you can put it into the chat, any experiences you've had with not only this time, especially with the Lionsgate portal, but anything that you felt like, oh, maybe my solar plexus was a little wonky, right? Feel free to put that into the chat. Okay, so here's how you know if your solar plexus is not in balance. And I know we can see this from other people, especially some political people right now, but when it's not imbalanced, it can be, we can feel very, well, people can perceive us as very egotistical, very controlling, very power hungry. We can want to kind of stamp out other people's freedoms and self-expression. It's kind of like that me type of thing. We refer to King Baby as like, I want what I want and I want it now. That would be like kind of a crazy, not crazy, but it's definitely a solar plexus that is not healthy and balanced. But we also can have a little bit of perfectionism and feeling a little obsessive about things, and that can lead us to feeling very disappointed, not only in that I can't get it right or I can't do it perfectly, but also it ends up making us feel a little bit of a little drained because we put so much energy and effort into getting it right that we don't even have enough energy to get it done, right? So that's a problem. We also can sometimes feel very like almost like manic, almost like hyperactive, bouncing from one thing to another. Some of my clients that have the ooh shiny, I get distracted by the ooh shiny all the time. So maybe feels a little bit ADHD, where we're not able to plan, we're not able to implement, and we're not able to follow through with tasks because we don't have that clear focus. We don't have that clear desire of what we're wanting. So it's like we're just bouncing around and getting a whole lot of nothing done. The other piece that can happen when it's not balanced is we can struggle with either being being able to be self-driven in the regards to like we can have like self-doubt. We can feel just unsure about our identity. We can have struggles with authenticity. We can have some real self-esteem and insecurity issues come up. And when I was saying, like, I was like, what am I doing? That's kind of what was coming up for me. Like, am I doing what I need to be doing? Am I doing it well? You know, what am I doing? It was really work-wise, but so that can kind of show you that when things are blocked, depleted, or imbalanced. Vicky Reed's wrote, brain exploding, putting so much energy into getting it right that we might not have enough energy to get it done. Totally. That is that bouncing, that's that hyperactivity, but then that's also that perfectionism. I feel like we don't have enough energy to maintain that, which is probably a good thing, right? But then it leaves us feeling pretty bad, like I couldn't get stuff done. It's that whole concept of like having a to-do list that's way too intensive, right? To feel like I've got these 40 things that I have to get done today. And reality is we might be able to get like 4 or 5 done. And then we kind of like pile on, you know, give ourselves some really negative feedback if we're not able to get that done. So yeah, for me, that's a sign that the solar plexus is just it's not completely clear and balanced. Yes, recovering perfectionist. I think a lot of us are. It's always a process of healing, right? I feel like I never want to say we're not going to get there, but I feel like layers and layers get peeled back and we're always like, there's another one of that. So yes, it's a good thing. And it's a good thing that you have that awareness that you can make change. I kind of love this for the the different chakras, there's an archetype kind of associated with each chakra. And for the solar plexus, it's the warrior. And I love the warrior and the way that it's described for the solar plexus, because it is a blend of masculine and feminine energies. It's really incorporating that intuition, that strong sense of self, that energy, that creativity, but then also there's some strength, there's some leadership, and there's some courage. So you have this blending, you have this fine balance of really knowing who you are, what you want, and then putting it out there in a way that really feels, again, genuine and authentic to ourselves. The solar plexus is also strongly associated with the sun, Leo, and the lion. So that was the other reason why I'm like, oh my God, I'm struggling during Lionsgate. It has to be the solar plexus. And so working with the solar plexus, the energy of the solar plexus, you can use crystals. I only have a couple over here that you can work with anything, honestly. But this is citrine. I have tiger's eye, a little teeny tiger's eye, and then I have a healer's quartz that I also use. But you can use pyrite, yellow agate, amber is a really good one, golden calcite. Gosh, those are the ones that I'm thinking of. Vicky Reed says, OMG, amazing. A friend of mine has Native American roots, and her tribe leader would keep reminding her a warrior never depletes herself. I love that. A warrior never depletes herself. Yeah, I love that. And I love that it's herself, right? But it's true, right? Because we need to know when. They always talk about, like, a good warrior knows when to go into battle and when to not, when to have a conversation, or when to withdraw, or, when to lay down arms. A good warrior only goes to battle when it's like the only other option, right? And so I love that. Never depletes herself. That's good, because then you can kind of also think about it as the ultimate nurturer, right? So if you want to use crystals, those are some good ones. If you're like, nah, I don't really know too much about it, that's fine too. Or anything that you're drawn to, anything that you're like, oh, this gives me strength, or I'm really drawn to this for, leadership qualities, or whatever it might be, warrior energy, whatever you're drawn to. Oils that you can use, there is some in this candle that I lit. There is some lemon in it. So anything that's lemon, grapefruit, I think ginger and peppermint. You might want to fact check me on that one, but I think they're recommended for the solar plexus. And again, anything that you're drawn to, you always have to give yourself permission to pick out something that works just for you. He says, yeah, and she had a habit of overgiving too. Yeah, that happens, right? That kind of goes along with the perfectionism, I would say. But habit of overgiving, that also is, that's sort of a step below. That can sometimes be the sacral chakra, where we're giving too much of ourselves to others, and we're not receptive or open to receiving for ourselves. And so having that balance, oh my gosh, having that balance is so important. And I think this is just going to be a little soapbox, but I think culturally we tend to, as women, tend to overgive and not really see that, like, I need to be able to receive. I don't like to say take, but sometimes it is a matter of taking. And then sometimes I need to just have that wisdom of knowing when I don't have to do anything for others, kind of let them test it out, let them try it on their own, let them try to solve it for themselves, right? And if they can't, then maybe I can zoom in, but otherwise, yeah, not going to. So how do I like to balance my solar plexus chakra? Besides using oils, candles, anything with flame, I also like to use these crystals. You can hold them, you can have them in a pocket, you can meditate with them in your hands. You can sort of set the intention that they're going to help you kind of sort through whatever you need to sort through for that. But then also I like to do a little bit of guided meditation, and I do a lot of self Reiki. And I know I'm sort of biased with Reiki of how that's beneficial, but I just think it is a all-purpose cleaner, so to speak. So it's a good thing. I have read something recently that making someone feel guilty steals their power and also makes them feel not worthy. I'm wondering if women fall into this dynamic and are now overdoing. Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting thought. Yeah, that's true. And do you mean steals the other person's power or your own power? Because I feel it creates a wonky power dynamic anyways, but I feel like it it over it over pumps or whatever the person that's applying the guilt, right? It over pumps their power, and then it does deplete the other person's, right? Because it minimizes them and makes them feel really small. And if there was any opportunity for that to be balanced, I feel like it just creates a complete power imbalance. People feeling guilty don't feel powerful. Yes, they feel powerless. I totally agree. Yeah, because they 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 don't have it within themselves to feel supportive, to feel um, like they can tap into that personal power, that solar plexus personal power, and feels very led by other people. And so that's not a good way. Yeah, we want to feel that we have our own power and we are dynamic, like you said, powerful power dynamic. Yeah. So, if you would like to have a little bit of guided meditation, I'm going to do some Reiki at the same time, which will be interesting because when I do Reiki, I tend to kind of go off into a trance. But I would like to keep reading some of the things that I wrote down that can help clear any distortions about our personal power, that can support us, that can give us information about where are those struggles, what that I've been experiencing. um and so it'll be interesting. We'll see if I can stay on task. We'll see how well I do. But if you want to receive this, the only thing you have to do is just sort of indicate that in your own mind. You can say, yes, I'm open to it. You can, you know, do whatever, thumbs up. I don't care. Your higher power will not allow anything to come in that's not supposed to come in. You're not going to pick up on other people's energies. You're just going to receive this the way that it's meant to be, with highest intentions and for your best, for your greatest good. So if you're open to that, I would say take a little time to situate yourself, get yourself comfortable. And you're always welcome to keep your eyes open, and you just want to sort of soften your gaze, maybe something across the room so you're not like focused, or you're welcome if you're comfortable to close your eyes. I'm going to actually light 2 candles. I'm also going to light, this is rose scented candles. This is very heart centered, but I love this when we're working with feminine energy, which again, even though they consider the solar plexus kind of like a masculine, that is like a giant flame. As soon as I lit that, holy cow. Even though they consider the solar plexus a masculine energy, I sort of don't. I just I laughed and I just blew my candle out. Apparently the universe agrees with me. I truly believe that it is both, because you need, so that warrior energy, that is both, right? To me it's like that embodiment of the yin and the yang, right? So I will put the candle away from my face so I don't laugh and blow it out again. But take a breath in if you're open to receiving. Just get your body comfortable. We're going to just begin going within, getting centered, getting more grounded. So however you do that, whatever your way, Just imagining bringing in vitality with each breath, reclaiming pieces of your personal power that have gone out to the world, just calling them back in with each breath. And with each exhale, just releasing what doesn't serve you, any fear or doubt, any challenges to our self-esteem, any challenges to our power. Just imagine letting them go. You don't have to worry about where they're going to go, where they're going to head. We can just allow the universe to take that and turn that into energy that can be used in a better way, we'll say. So just in and out. I'm going to start sending Reiki. Energy doesn't know time or space. So anybody who listens to this or watch this will be able to receive the benefits of Reiki. Just remember that you boldly light your own path. From the rising sun to the full blaze of the sun's highest point, the light within is not only the source of your personal power, but it's the key to your freedom. Giving yourself permission to roam and explore, to rest, to engage, to nourish, and to receive. Harnessing the power of the sun to warm, to nurture yourself, and to ignite your passions. It's a little bit of my crystals. Your true self wisely knows when to share your light with others, when to keep it for you, and knowing that supporting others never diminishes your light, that your light is always able to remain bright. And knowing that you're generous and gentle. You know that there's enough for everyone without sacrificing your needs to share your light. You are bold and brave with the wisdom of knowing when to engage, when to walk away, and when to fully show up. You are filled with inspiration, excitement, and eagerness to walk down a path that is uniquely yours. Just allowing any of the old mindsets, limiting beliefs, just to fall away. Imagine using that fire. You can use it to warm and nurture, but you can also use it to devour, right? Just sending those limiting beliefs, those fears and those doubts into the fire, letting it be consumed so you don't have to carry that anymore. You can be proud of who you are, but also recognize that there is balance with humility. You don't need to brag or seek others' praise or acknowledgement for your accomplishments, but you also are free to talk about your strengths, your skills, your talents. And when you do it from a balanced place, you give others permission to also recognize and talk about their skills and strengths. You can resist the hustle. You can slow nervous energy. You can choose instead to walk confidently through life with grace and ease. Grateful for abundance you receive, and know that there is always more to come. Always more, always enough. Just take this fine point, whatever is still there, whatever is still in kind of that solar plexus area. We just want to kind of pull it out gently, just moving that energy. Just releasing it. Knowing that your brilliant light will always draw in the perfect people into your life at the perfect time. You can become a magnet for others who choose to work with you in partnership and not competition. You know that there is always value and safety in community. And you begin to surround yourself with those who are supportive and like-minded. You cherish and recognize your creativity, your imagination, and your intuition. Acknowledging the disservice to yourself when you wonder if you're less than or unworthy, or doubting of and minimizing what you know, what you sense, and what you feel. It's time to see yourself as you truly are, at your core, in your heart. A clear path is available for you to achieve all of your goals and desires. You radiate your inner royalty. You are the king and the queen. You are always enough. abundance is always available to you. I'm going to take a moment to be silent and just continue to send Reiki. Without pressure or effort, just releasing or allowing to release anything that doesn't serve you, anything that's keeping your solar plexus out of balance. It's creating stress or tension for you. Just release that. Or at least have the intention that it can be released. When we release those things, our shine, our brilliance just gets brighter. It is a light source from within that's never, never snuffed out. Just allowing that fire to build, moving from warming and nurturing to energizing and fueling. Knowing that you're always in control of your inner fire. You make choices. You have different behaviors that don't allow that fire to consume you. I want to just seal that energy with a little bit of sound. That one wasn't intentional. That one was. I invite you to just take another cleansing breath in. Just releasing it all. Blow out the grounding candle. I'm actually gonna keep the rose candle. I'm gonna keep that burning. So hopefully that was just a little bit of time to go within and to really explore what's going on right now with your solar plexus. I already told you, you kind of already know I've had a funky time with it. And that is kind of what I do. That is my process for reconnecting with myself, my process for releasing anything to notice maybe what's been coming up. When we get in touch with our intuition, it makes it so clear, what's sort of getting in our way. It's usually us. I hate to say it, but it's usually us. We're a big roadblock for ourselves. But we're able to reel that back in. We're able to harness that personal power. We're able to put ourselves out there authentically and genuinely in a way that feels safe, that feels like we're not going to get burned. And we're able then to really focus in and draw in what we're hoping to receive. It's funny, when I was meditating, the image that came up for me, even though I had been meditating on the lion's energy, the image that came up for me was a buffalo, which I absolutely love. One, it's all about the abundance, right? That the universe is going to provide abundance for us. But then the other thing is, when I was doing my shamanic training a few years ago, my mentor had asked me, we were doing kind of a journeying exercise together, and she said, bring an element, invite an element in for protection. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I just saw my entire house, my entire property, just surrounded by buffalo. Just their strength, their resilience, their community, their connection, just there. It was so powerful. And so whenever buffalo comes, or bison comes, depending on where you are, but whenever that comes, I'm like, that's power. That's so powerful. So I wanted to also, if you have any questions, feel free to put them into the chat. The other thing that I wanted to give you was some questions, and I will remember, hopefully, to put them into the comment section, but just some journal prompts or questions to ask yourself about the timing of the lion's appearance. Some of these are from, I have a book about animal allies, animal totems. Ted Andrews was that author. Some of them are from him, and I've sort of reworked some of the other ones. But I wanted to read those to you, just so you can sort of think about how you want to keep working with the energy of the lion. So the first one I put is, how are you contributing to the group or the community? So oftentimes we have roles assigned to ourselves, right? If you think about the female lion versus the male lion, they have different roles. Sometimes they're similar, but there's some that are a little bit specific. And so, are we contributing? Are we contributing in the way that people are hoping or expecting? Are we contributing in a way that feels meaningful to us, that feels like it's using our gifts and talents, that feels safe? Are we over contributing? If so, we want to pull back a little bit. Do you need to step up and do more? That one I think is sometimes hard, when we're like, I'm doing enough, I don't want to do any more. But sometimes we do. Sometimes we do need to give more. And it may not be, it's not give till you're depleted. That's definitely not it. But how can I give in a different way? How can I give of myself more? How can I believe that even if I give a little bit more, there's still going to be enough for me, right? There's that balance between having enough and having lack and scarcity, right? Do you need to be productive? Do you need to pull back? Do you need to cooperate more? Sometimes we don't want to play nice. Do you need to give yourself permission to explore and play? Do you just need to be a little lion cub and just enjoy the day, right? Maybe. But is it also time that you need to nourish and nurture yourself or others, right? Sometimes that can be a big thing, that we kind of get lax in self-care, or we feel like because we're not able to do that for ourselves, we don't want to contribute to others. And that's a wonky mindset too. Just like I've been talking about with that warrior energy, and I do believe this to be true for the solar plexus, do you need to work on balancing your masculine and your feminine energies? Maybe. Do you need to support? This is an interesting one. Do you need to support more of your feminine energies to increase your success? I think we always think of like work and success as being like such a male, or masculine, I shouldn't say male, but just such a masculine energy. I'm going to say male again. And it's really not. We can be successful with feminine energy. It might come in a different way, but sometimes we need to do things in a little bit more of a, I hate to say softer again, but softer way. Do you need to practice speaking up for yourself? Do you know when you need to roar and when you need to be quiet, right? Do you need to send off that warning signal to other people of like, stay back, I've had enough? Or to use that voice to say, come in, I need support. So is there something that needs to be worked around with that? That is a huge one for right now. Oh, well, with the lion, is it time for measured courage? Is it time to draw up and, draw up from the inner resources you have for courage to put yourself out there in a different way, or in a way that you already have and you haven't done in a while? How do you draw up that energy? Where do you get your courage from? Hopefully it's not, I do it out of fear, a place of fear. Hopefully it's from a place of, I know I've got this. I know I can do this, right? And if it's not, we probably can talk. um, is this a time for following your heart? This is a huge one. We sometimes need to quiet our mind, quiet our fears, and just go within, go into your heart space, wherever you feel your intuition, and just trust it. And if you feel like, I don't know if I can trust my intuition, okay, again, that can create some wonkiness in the solar plexus. We need to be able to not only trust ourselves, but trust our intuition. Your intuition will never lead you wrong. It'll never be a bad step, bad advice. That's not your intuition. The bad step and the bad advice, that's fear. So we just need to be able to differentiate, discern between which is which. Another big message for this time is it time to reclaim your dignity by taking actions that are aligned with your personal integrity? That one's a heavy one. So sometimes we compromise our integrity. Sometimes we don't do the most dignified things. We lash out, talking about that power, that weird power differential when we guilt people, when we use very passive aggressive language or behaviors. That's not coming from a positive place, right? It's not coming from a place of self-love and care and compassion. It's from, I've got to stab you before you stab me, basically. So is it time to either reclaim or build a new sense of self-respect, dignity? What does dignity mean to you? How do you show yourself dignity, or how do you exemplify that in the world? What do you think of personal integrity? Have you ever thought of what your personal integrity is? Another big message is, are you being called? Is this a time where you need to be a leader of you? Do you need to really take the reins and say, I'm going to be the leader of my own life? This is one of those times, there's a couple of them, but this is one of those times that we're really being called to do that. Also, is this a time, if we're feeling very scattered, feeling like we're popping all over and we can't get stuff done, or feeling like the perfectionist is so focused on like, I got to get it right, or I got to get it done this particular way? Is this time where we need to be organizing and implementing different strategies for our personal success? And in doing that, we also are kind of giving people space to do it their own way. I think about like when I'm just thinking about teaching the kids how to tie their shoelace. Like after a while, I was like, forget it. You're either going to figure it out or you're not. But I was getting so like, you got to do it this particular way. No, however you get it done is the shoes aren't going to fall off. And if they do, you're going to figure out how to put them back on. So do we need to get out of our own way to allow other people to do the same for themselves? And also, is it time to go within, to quietly plan and independently take action? I think, people always think about like the lion's roar, but lions are usually pretty quiet, right? They only use their voice when they have to, which is kind of curious. Or the male lion, the right, when you think of the male lion roaring. And sometimes we just need to quietly go about our business, quietly go through, our own strategies, our own rhythms. And it's interesting. I mean, some people probably already heard these stories multiple times, but it's funny when I'm really excited about an idea, and I know I need to be sharing it with people that support me, that are my cheerleaders, and I still have the tendency to share it with a couple people in my life. One of them is like, I call her a dream stomper, because every time I'm like, I'm so excited about this thing, she has a little bit of Eeyore in her where she's like, it's never going to happen, or it's not going to work, or you haven't thought about this, or, she just sort of like lets the steam out of my, I'm just so excited. I just feel like so deflated after I talk to her. So really, no, this could be a time for me as well. This could be a time where you just work on that quietly, that you just plan and have some strategy that's stealthy, right? And that's okay. Not to be, like we're trying to manipulate what people see and what people don't, but that maybe I just need to take this time to do it within me. And I think those were the big ones. Yeah. And so those are some journal prompts, things to think about. You can put them into, I like to do sometimes like active meditation where I'm thinking about stuff, kind of going within and just allowing like whatever comes up to come up. So I know this is something I need to work on, or this is something that I need to explore for myself. Hopefully you have a practice where you do that yourselves. If you don't, obviously I can help you with that. But this has been a really, I know I've said it before, but this has been a really curious time for me. So hopefully working with the solar plexus, understanding the energy and having some strategies to really support, clear and balance the solar plexus was helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. If you're wanting to do a little bit more work, I do have my Sacred Circle coming up August 20th, I want to say. Yeah, Sunday the 20th at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Or maybe we're in, I don't know if we're in daylight savings times. I have no idea. But Central Time Zone. And we're working on releasing some of our past pain so that we can feel inspired. We can sort of ignite that passion again, where we can manifest and receive. That there seems to be a theme there. So if you have any last minute questions or comments, feel free to put them into the chat. But otherwise, like I said, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, any concerns. If you need any resources, I can help with that as well. I'm going to blow out. So that was that rose. It smells very, it smells like a meadow in my office right now, because I've got that earthy grounding candle, and then the rose, and then I had the sage earlier. So it's like a meadow in my office. So if there's no other questions, I am going to sign off. I am not sure if I'm going to be doing, just an FYI, putting that out there. I don't know if I'll be doing next Friday. I might be doing an evening, but be sure and subscribe so you know when I'm going to be doing the next live, and you can always catch the replay. But once I put it into the planner, then it pops up for you if you're subscribed. And so you kind of know like, oh, when's the next time I'm going to be on. Like I said, you can feel free to join us for the Sacred Circle. There's still tickets available on Eventbrite. You can check it out on the website, or I can put it maybe into the comments. But otherwise, I hope everybody has a fabulous weekend, or whenever you're listening to this. I hope your day goes well, and I'll look forward to us connecting again.